Well, Eamon, I suppose, as I've said to a couple of people after the victories over Tyrone, particularly the performance against Armagh, Donegal going in as very strong favourites against Derry and Clonus on Sunday. Does that carry any extra weight on people's shoulders?
Yeah, there's definitely a threat of it affecting the squad, and people might start believing this whole hype, and but I think in fairness, this a lot of us have been about for a long time, and if we see any of the younger bucks falling out of place, then we'll be quick to bring them back to reality. Now that we're not this great team that's been put out there in the media, and what we do is all about hard work. So it's just if we see someone slacking and training on the Tuesday or Thursday, then we'll bring them back into line now. So there's definitely a threat that it might affect the mindset, but I can't see it happening in
Yeah.
the squad.
Enough experience there, as you say, really, to notice if anybody is slacking. And it's a 13-day turnaround. That's a quick turnaround from one game to the other at this level as well, Eamon.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to come on as fairly quick. So in terms of preparation and getting a look at Derry, it's a bit of a disadvantage now. Derry have had that wee bit more time to prepare, watch our game, and probably watch the Tyrone game now. So we're kind of coming trying to catch up with it, like. But the training's been good. Like the training's been fairly positive, and everything's looking well now.
Yeah, I mean, years such a short time in football because I remember last year Donegal were going to Celtic Park to take on Derry, and Derry were very much the favourites after the great National League campaign. The thing has really flipped tremendously, but that's what sport's all about, I suppose, Eamon.
That's what sports all about. You're only as good as your last game, and like we've went out and we've beat Tyrone and we've beat Armagh. So in fairness to the media, that they have to really put us up there now. It's just they can only go on what they've seen. But at the same time, we know Derry will be formidable opposition. You look at last year, went through Division 1 unbeaten, and no bad team does that. And they'll be a very, very hard. They've beat Down, and so they'll be very hard to beat this
Yeah,
time.
they'll set up pretty defensively, I'm sure, Raymond. We were talking to Rory Goller about this. Donegal have to cope with that and have coped well with it. I suppose particularly since the Monaghan game in the Donald Park when a lot was learned from that game.
Yeah, I think someone mentioned that during the week about the Monaghan game, and we think we after that game we had to go back and look at it where our faults were and where we were letting ourselves down when a team set up a certain way, and we learned an awful lot from it, and I think we've kind of pushed on since that game, and if a team sets up like that, then we're more than capable of getting around it.
Yeah, there was a lot of nervousness around in terms of the Armagh game for all sorts of different reasons. Spectators thought this could be the biggest challenge, but having won that game now, Eamon, and moved on to Derry, that's a different type of a challenge. You have the local derby aspect to it. Both sets of players know one another very well, and I mean, Derry will be expected to really raise their game from the down performance where they showed a bit of nerves, but obviously having not had a great campaign in the league, that was to be expected.
Yeah, I think with the Armagh game, we were gearing ourselves up for a big battle, and just unfortunately for Armagh, just they never got to the level that day. Derry, it'll be a totally different proposition, in terms of you look back to the semi-final last year when we were probably in the same situation as Derry are in now. Like a lot of people talking up the Dubs, and then we came out and we ambushed them, and Derry are just in prime position for that same situation, and they'll be working hard. They have a good man in charge of them. They have good personnel in the team, and definitely it's going to be a tough encounter.
Yeah, and does it matter that Donegal have been there, done that so often in the past? I mean, I made the point this week, possibly a fifth Ulster final in a row. The last team to do that was the team in the late 90s, the late 80s and the early 90s. I mean, it would be a remarkable performance given the difficulty of the Ulster Championship.
Yeah, listen, it would be nice, and probably it does help to a degree, but at the same time, as I said earlier on, you're only as good as your last game. Like every day, you have to go out and try to be your best and challenge yourself now. But in them tight situations that we've experienced, and we've been about here a fair wee while, in different type of games, close games, we've been beating teams well, and we've gathered up a fair bit of experience. So it'll be a positive, but it's not going to be a massive advantage against Derry.
And on a personal basis, finally, Eamon, you had to come off at half time with a bit of a strained ankle. Again, relatively short turnaround time. Can we expect you to see you start If selected, are you fit? If selected,
Yeah, like that's it. If selected. No, I'll be fairly confident. You know, we're being looked after by some of the top medical staff in the country. You know, you have like Dermot and Dr. Kevin there, and I'm being looked after very, very well. So it's just a matter of waiting, and it's just a matter of time to see will I be okay, and hopefully, come the weekend, the build up to the Derry game, I'll be fit to go.
it's not a game you want to miss.
No, definitely, I don't want to miss any game at all. You know, every game that Donegal's playing, I'd rather be playing rather than sitting on the bench or as a spectator watching it. I just want to be playing for Donegal as much as I can.
So, no complacency, but confident that Donegal can reach a fifth Ulster final in a row.
Well, if we've trained well, we've trained hard, I'd be confident, you know, and that the signs seem to be pointing that everything's going well. So hopefully if we get to the level of performance that we know we're capable of, then you'd be confident. But at the same time, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But as long as we get up to the level that we know we're capable of, then we'll be happy.